Keep it on the level. Keep it on the level. Keep it on the level. I'm climbing up the. Keep it on the level. Keep it on the level. I'm climbing up the ladder while you in need of a shovel. I can do this all day. I can do this all night.
All right, folks, I'm back yet again with another episode. Yes, in the same day. As I was publishing this episode, I realized that I didn't actually talk about the Carolina game. If anybody wants to hear those opinions. But there's a couple other things I want to talk about as well that I just completely blanked on. First of all, the game. Talking last week, just before the Louisville game, is, and it's the same mentality, I think. They haven't done anything that makes me feel super confident in any of these finishing games. And the reason is, it's just we're getting burned by the same mistakes over and over again. And if you look at Carolina's strengths, they match up very poorly for us. I think they're number 2 or 3 in the conference in passing. And as we all know, that's really not something we do well, defend the pass. I don't think that their the QB play has been all over the place and not great. That typically doesn't matter in these games. They've beaten us with a third string safety playing quarterback or whatever. I forgot what it was that year. And then we've beaten them with, Trubisky and Marquise and all those other guys. So I don't think it really matters who's playing quarterback. What it's going to come down to is who's ready to play, who wants it more. Should mean a lot to them. Senior day. They're basically their bowl game. They're not going to a bowl game. So it should mean a lot to them, man. And it should be. We need to match that intensity. They have some really good athletes. I think Ratliff Williams is a guy that State was really high on, and he's really good. And if he gets the ball in space, he can be trouble. We need the defensive line to dominate and put some pressure on them and make them make the mistakes that they're likely to make. They're not likely going to run on us, so we need to get that pressure on their passing game. One of the comments that I got to was David Stanford. Can we put the hammer down the heels the way we did to Louisville? Would make the whole season feel a bit better. Yeah, I think that's it. I think they need to come out with the same mentality. I just talked about it, the Louisville game, but they need to do that same thing in the Carolina game. Come out and play aggressive and go hard at them, play to our strengths, and beat them because they're not good, and make them make mistakes because they're going to make mistakes. So we just need to go out there and flex on them and be prepared and play aggressive. David Stanford also asked, is Camping World Bowl a success? I'd say yes. Disappointing. If you'd given me that in August, I would have taken it. What did you notice difference about the team on Saturday being there and getting to watch in person as opposed to the away game? So 2 different questions there. Yeah, I don't remember the bowl pecking order anymore. All these names change. So I guess the Camping World is at the Gator or one of those other bowls. It's fine. It's Orlando or it's in Florida, and that's always good. I think that's where you get the most exposure from those random athletes that we pick up out of there, and having those practices and the game accessible to those kids is a good thing. And the opponent would be a Big 12 opponent, if I remember correctly. Who knows who that could be, but it would be interesting. Maybe West Virginia, right? The weird thing is, Alec Lower mentioned today, this morning on Twitter at least, I saw it, that if State had won the Wake game, they'd be ranked 11th in the country right now. Currently, they're unranked. That just doesn't make me feel good. I mean, that just I don't love that. What did I notice different about the team on Saturday? They came out with more life. And this is, I talked about it and I tweeted it during the Wake games, that they just looked dead and looked apathetic and every other adjective you can think of. But in this game, you could see the sideline was buzzing a little bit more. Guys were fired up, man, and it wasn't just one or two guys. It was everybody. Everybody's looking to play. Everybody was ready to play, and you need to bring that all the time. And speaking of Doeren, after the Louisville game, had an interesting quote in his press conference, and I'm going to try to add that right here.
As a program, I feel like right now, when we have adversity, we respond really well. When people don't respect us, we respond really well. People talk bad about us, we respond really well. But we still haven't learned how to handle success. Like, that's the next thing in our program. And the two games that we didn't play the way I thought we could, Clemson and Wake, those were the weeks where we were getting this, the attaboys all week. And that's something I've got to get better at helping them with, obviously, as their head coach, and getting them to block the noise. I knew we'd respond. Our guys were awesome. Like I said, when I met with you guys Tuesday, it was our best practice of the year. And it showed. When you go out in pads and practice that way, it helps.
So, yeah, I think I thought that was interesting. Because it's true. I mean, it's no secret. We've all kind of seen it. We've all kind of felt it. But to hear Doeren identify it and say, just out front that, hey, we need to get better at handling success. And that's on him. And that's kind of what we've always emphasized, that he's learning on this job. And he's and it seems like even more so lately, he's very self-aware of himself and the program, and I think that's a good sign for him developing. And I think if you look at the great coaches, that's what they do. I mean, Saban is notorious for like berating his players when they, win by 60, and that's the intention, right? You got to keep these kids on edge a little bit, and keep them focused so they don't get apathetic and they don't get into this. That funk that plagues us during the successful times. So I thought that was interesting. I just wanted to play it. I wanted to make sure that everybody kind of heard that, and we got to talk about it a little bit because I thought it was very important. I think he's acutely aware of the situation, and that makes you feel a little better. If he went out there and didn't acknowledge it or said something stupid or said something Fedora-esque, then we wouldn't feel as good about the direction of the program, even despite those losses. I hope that he can learn from it and get better and improve on it, but only time will tell. Yeah, so I think that's it for real this week. I don't think there'll be a third episode. But as always, thanks for listening. Let's go out there and play well against Carolina, fill up the stands, and go to hell, Carolina. Go Pack.
Keep it on the level. Keep it on the level. Keep it on the level. I'm climbing up the. Keep it on the level. Keep it on the level. I'm climbing up the ladder while you in need of a shovel. I can do this all day. I can do this all night.